it's TinaGale with my Scrappy Ideas, and today is Tuesday, so that means Disney. And I have just a few photos from the show that they do at the American Adventure in the Epcot World Showcase, where they just come out and they have a little flag ceremony and stuff. So I went looking through my paper, and I found this simple story, Sea to Shining Sea, and really I have no idea where else I would use this paper, really, so I thought it would be perfect for those. And it has this cut apart sheet, which I'm just going to cut this out to use for my title, and maybe some of the other little pieces for embellishments. And then I'm going to cut this strip apart, I think, as a border trim, and some strips here. So I'm going to go cut that paper up, and then we'll be back to put this layout together, and I'm thinking it's going to be a really quick layout. Alright, so there's been nothing quick about this. I've kind of changed my mind. I played and I played and I played, and I really couldn't decide what I wanted. I do like the red and white stripes on the white background, but like the one stripe that I was going to use, I just couldn't quite get it to work with the photos, and so I went to my silhouette files and I found this file here that just has the circles with the star cutouts, and so I cut it out of white, and then I took all of that cut apart sheet and I have cut out embellishments, and I've done circles. And if you're wondering why I did a scalloped, my circle punch was not quite big enough, but my scalloped one was, and so since it's going underneath, it's not going to matter. So I just took different sections of the papers that would work, punched those out. Some of them are just scraps that I cut because they're going to go behind for the stars. A few of them I took washi tape. I have this one and the blue with the stars, and so I just covered some of the pieces that cut out with washi tape and covered them up. Now, one of my big problems here is because I'm working with 4x6 photos and I'm trying to get 3 on a single page. So that's really a lot of photos to fit on one 12x12 when they're this large. Now I could go and reprint them and make them smaller so they fit on here, but I have them printed, and this time it's just not that important to me. I'm just not going to do it. This is a pretty minor part of our vacation, and so I'm just going with what I have. So if you don't like filling your page up with photos, then of course go and print yours in a little bit smaller, but this is what I have, so this is what I'm going to work with. This was that strip that I was trying to get to work on here, and I just couldn't do it. So since I only had the 2 sheets of paper, and the one was the cut apart, I was able to get several different patterns that are going to go behind here and add a lot of interest. But because this is so busy, I want to go ahead and mat my photos, and so this is my only choice. And so I'm just going to lay these on here and cut around them and make some mats with those. Another thing that I'll say that I've kind of struggled with is this particular collection has a really dark blue and a burgundy red. So if you look at this, this is very distressed, antiqued, an older vintage looking. Then you have these really bright red and white stripes like on this with the bright blue. And then you have this lighter, I don't even know what shade of blue, but this blue that leans to the green. And so since there's so much going in different directions, that was another thing that I was kind of fighting to get it to all look like it was part of the same collection, and it is the same collection, but yet it wasn't looking like it. So by breaking it up into smaller little bits behind this cut apart, it's going to help marry all of those papers together. And I know that my photos are going to cover most of this up, but I went ahead and I'm just going to fill them all up because I'm not going to do anything else with this paper, and so I'm not trying to save it. So I went ahead and just did as many as I could, and I've sat here for just a few minutes and kind of played with them and moved them around, trying to get them where nothing's real close together, like these two are close together, but that's more than likely going to be completely covered up with a photo, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I wanted to make sure, like these on this outside edge especially, that they were different and going to be interesting. So now I'm going to break away again, and I'm going to glue this together because you don't need to see me struggle. I'm sure it's going to be really fun to get all these pieces on the back. And so I'll be back when I'm through putting it all together, and we'll finish the embellishing. So I've gotten all of the pieces filled in, and for just a little bit of added protection, I just took washi tape and ran across the background of this so that I'd make sure none of these pieces moved, and I'm going to adhere it down really, really well. I've also inked the edges of the red and white striped, but I'm not going to ink the edges of this background piece. And I've matted my photos, and I also inked those. And like I said earlier, this is going to cover up all of this background work that I've done, but that was okay because I wanted to make sure that I had them. So I've just matted those. I'm going to do that. I cut out this USA, so I'm just going to figure out somewhere down here how I want the part of the title to be. And I also have this star that I cut out that I'm going to somehow incorporate. And I had this little piece that I cut from the cut apart that has the date. And this was one that I kept just in case. Then for my embellishments, since I didn't really have embellishments that went with this, I just went to my stash and I sort everything by color. That's just odds and ends embellishments. So I have these great little dewdrops. I have a couple of little brads that have stars that would be cute. There's some buttons, some more buttons. I think maybe that'll be enough on buttons. So there's me a few things, and then I also pulled out my red containers, which my smaller ones like buttons and things like that, these are cassette holders, and I had a bunch, so I have red buttons. And then I have this would be great, I could stick that on there somewhere. I have some buttons there, a little red tag possibly. So I'm just going to go through and start figuring out some embellishments to kind of pop this up just a little bit. So I'm going to speed it up now and do a voiceover because I spent quite a bit of time just fussing around with these embellishments, trying to figure out how I could put them on there and still keep enough of the background showing that it was adding interest to the layout and stuff, but yet I could still kind of keep my 3 embellishment clusters and stuff, and your eye kind of moving around the layout, because right now everything's kind of in a grid pattern. You know, the border strips are all straight across, the photos are kind of straight across, and then also in a grid going down, or in a line going down. And so I messed quite a while figuring out where I could use this clip that said Made in the USA, where it's not distracting from the photos, but that it's, you know, pleasing to the eye and all of that. And so after quite a bit of fussing around, I ended up moving the title over to the left. And then I'm like, I'm still not happy with that, so I'm going to see if I can find some smaller embellishments. And these little dewdrops I thought were going to work really well, but when they went on the layout, they looked more aqua than they did dark blue or anything, so I finally just kind of pushed those aside. I have these brads that are a little bit older from Close to My Heart, and they had the stars on them, and I had 2 blue, and I had just 1 that was red, and so I decided to use the 2 blue ones on each side of the title. And so then I'm going to look for more buttons, and I'm simply just pulling out enough of the blue and the red buttons, and I'm even going to go all the way back to some eyelets, so you're going to see me set some eyelets here in a little bit. But because I'm not completely sure what to do with my photos and things, I've kind of just let them sit there for a little bit and just pulling out the embellishments so that I can make sure that I have enough to kind of mix up the red and the blue around in the different sizes and the different colors and stuff while I sit and just think about those photos. So if you follow me on my YouTube channel, you know that I do that a lot of times. And like I said in the beginning, I'm going to learn not to start a video by going, this is going to be a really quick layout, because this was the longest I have ever spent on a layout, and it should not, I mean, it was supposed to just be a really quick put it together and move on. And I think it actually sat on my desk for 4 days, and I don't remember the last time that a layout sat on my desk for that long. Sometimes a couple of days because I'm working around my other job or, you know, other obligations that I have, but not just because I am just like, I don't know what to do. It's not what I want. So you'll see here, I finally decide I am just going to totally switch the photos on the opposite side of the page. And I did that because of the pieces of the backing paper behind that overlay. I wanted to go ahead and move my title to the side of my photo and not underneath the two 4x6s. And so when I did that, the pieces that were showing were not that interesting, and they were really repetitive. And so I wasn't getting all the different colors that I wanted. So that is why I went ahead and switched the sides of the photos. It had to do with all of the pieces behind that overlay. And so if you're really, really curious, and it's probably pretty minor, but if you're curious, you could back it up and kind of see what was showing then and kind of what's going to show now. And it was also because of this clip, that Made in the USA clip. I really liked it on top of this one photo that has the America Adventure sign. But when it was on the right side of the page, it was not working where my clusters and my embellishments needed to be. And I also had this little tag with the date piece that I had cut from the cut apart sheets that I wanted to use, and it was not working in the other way. So I would say the combination of the background papers that were showing, and then where I wanted the embellishments and the title. So this large title down here, that clip up on the top left, and then I could put the date and all those other clusters of embellishments in that top right circle. And so by moving the photos, I was able to accomplish all that. And when I did that and I brought those photos down so that that bottom one is overlapping that red and white striped, and so then I could see a little bit more of the background pieces at the top. When I did all that, you know, it all started, I swapped the photos. It's like, yep, that's better. I pull them down. That's even better. My embellishments are going where I want them. My title is looking better and more balanced. And so now I'm ready to embellish. And so, like I said, I had the star brads that I put on each side of the USA. And then these star eyelets, I had those, and they worked perfect with the theme. And so I went ahead and brought out my Big Bite Crocodile and put those in, and it was the perfect little finishing touch to this layout. And that's pretty much going to finish this up. I did put some twine through my buttons, and I'm going to have some still shots here. So I hope you enjoyed this labor-intensive Disney layout for this Tuesday, and learn from my mistakes, and do not start out by saying this is going to be a really quick, simple layout, because it won't be. So here's your close-ups. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoy my videos. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this one. And we will be back real soon with another one. Come back tomorrow for the next installment of my Scrap Mingle, where new meets old. We'll see you later. Bye.